Yes, like right now, the biggest challenge before, I'm always worried if my children went out to the public, they are not confident if the people talking about them. The whole time I grew up, it was so lonely. Like, because you're home alone, your parents are busy doing business, so you don't have even brother and sister you can talk to. So I said, Grandma, when I grow up, I will get married to a black guy. And Grandma says, no, like you cannot marry to foreigner or the black guy. Yeah, but my mom didn't expecting like I married to an African, and that's the thing.
Welcome back to another episode of Living in China. Today, we are going to talk about interracial marriage. Love is very beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. And most importantly, when you marry someone from a different background, culture, and ethnicity. When we are open to each other, we can find a common place to know that we are all humans in the first place. Today, I sit down with a mother, a businesswoman called
Dadaliya.
Dadaliya is here to share her experiences as a Chinese woman married to an African brother. Mm-hmm. Are you ready for this conversation?
Yes.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Dadaliya. I have 3 boys. And my husband is from Cameroon. And I had 10 years marriage now. We're a happy family. I'm glad to see you today.
All right. We are a happy family. Glad to see you today. 10 years of marriage.
Yes.
What was your perception about black people, Africans, before you met your husband?
Well, I don't have much thought about African, but my grandma, she sit home watching news all the time, read newspaper and watch TV, and she told me, oh, they are different, because we think about Africa as like really in the white time. Maybe they have their special house in the village and this, and they have, one day she read a story about a lady married to African, and she living in the Africa and she can not come back China. And so my grandmother is getting worried. Like if one day I marry to, not African, but because of the African story, she's afraid I'm married to overseas and cannot come back to China, yeah. But I always challenged my grandma since when I was a small baby. I said, Grandma, when I grow up, I will get married to a black guy. But I didn't know it's come to true, I'm just that time making a joke with my grandma. And grandma says, no, like you cannot marry to foreigner or the black guy. Because if you do, we don't need the light in the evening. So I know, but it's just how they don't understand. That's the time they think about African most it's not developed or they have their traditions, so it's hard for us to go overseas and have international marriage. That's basically I get idea from my grandmother. Okay. She doesn't want me to go.
So that was your thought about Africans and black people?
I didn't think, but that's what I be told.
By your grandmother?
Yes.
Was it difficult for you as a Chinese to marry a black person or an African?
It's not difficult for me because after I become a teenager time, I went overseas to study. So my family, my parents, supposedly they are support me to go open my mind, to go abroad and to learn to be international. So the time they decide I can go overseas, and they already be prepared their mind in the future I may have international marriage. Yeah, but my mom didn't expecting I married to an African, and that's the thing. And she I remember I called my mom and said, Mom, I'm getting married. She said, oh, okay. So where is he from? I said, oh, it's from Cameroon. She's like, oh, okay, cool. And then wait after 3 days and she called back and she says, Cameroon is from Africa. It just says she doesn't understand like the geography and where the country is. Even I've been in Australia for 3 years. I came back China and she asking, so where are you from? Like where you studied in Canada? So, like that's how my parents they thought they sent me overseas, but they don't really understand outside China is different. They are different countries.
When you decided to marry this African brother from Cameroon,
Yeah.
did you receive any rejection? Was your family mad at you? Were your grandparents mad at you for marrying a black person 10 years ago?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
Yes.
So your family supported you fully to marry a black person at that time?
I don't think like they are like really 100% support me because they don't know who I'm getting married to, because most like after you study overseas, you come back, like for me, I take my marriage to be my personal things. So they just know I'm married to a foreigner, but they support me. Yeah, for sure. They're supporting me, but they are not so sure about, like what his culture was going to be. But my parents, they helped a lot. Like they try to, like financially support us.
How many kids do you have in this marriage?
Right now I have 3. Yeah, 3 boys.
3 boys.
Yeah, but I expected I have 5 at least.
You wanted to have 5 kids?
Yes, that's the beginning, yeah. Because you're married to a foreigner, right? Because that time I'm the single child, right? So one of the reasons, like when I was small, I think I can marry a foreigner because, you can have more than one babies. Because the whole time I grew up, it was so lonely. Like, because you're home alone, your parents are busy doing business, so you don't have even brother and sister you can talk to. So a house like that, you may just sit inside by yourself. So I feel like I want more children. If I could, I want to have 10 or 20. Seriously, I really want to have that many babies, but I can't. I have to consider about like my husband. So the time I married, I think 5 should be okay. But my country's policy,
right.
And also like after you're having baby, you're thinking as beginning is different things. So after you have baby, we are more concerned about the education phase and the raising phase. Like for baby diaper, powder, and everything for months is a lot of cost. So we have to try to manage what we can have to provide each of them have a better, condition to live. So that's why I still want to have. My husband says like, no, take a break.
Take a break.
Yeah.
My name is Sean. I'm 10 years old. My name is Ryan. I'm 9 years old. My name is Wayne. I'm 7 years old. We are brothers.
Were they born in China?
Yeah, my first one was born in China, but the second and third was born overseas. Yeah. So we try to not touching the line of the law, you understand? Yeah, but like at the time we're having babies. Yeah, they consider themselves like Chinese and African, and that's how we try to educate them all the time. Yeah.
You born the last 2 babies overseas, right?
Yeah.
Which country?
America.
Why did you choose to have the 2 kids in America, not in China?
Well, the time when I want to have my second baby with my husband, so we have to apply for, that time we have the policy for one baby policy. So that's why we have to thinking, well, if we giving birth inside China, so maybe it will be a little bit complex to file for the document. And then plus, maybe you want to have more babies because it's like you can have the second baby in China, but after second baby, maybe you want to have more. So better from the second baby, like if you can let them have a overseas nationality, so they don't really touching the like policy of China. But after giving birth, and our country also recognized them like it's Chinese. So that's why they actually they can choosing their nationality again after their 18 years. So we just want to leave the option for them. Like when they be adult, they can think for themselves, oh, should I choosing stay here or there? Because both are their cultures and they can learn. Yeah.
And I learned that you homeschooled your children.
Yes.
For how many years?
3 years kindergarten and 3 years like primary school.
Why did you decide to homeschool your kids instead of taking them into the government school or the public school? Well, are there any special reasons why?
Yeah, it's a long way to answer, but I have to think. Yes, the reason is like it's very beginning point. We try to send to the public school, public kindergarten. I think you know that, like we met there. So one day my husband went pick up the kids, and he was saying, like, oh, seems like he's not getting so well with the others. Well, he's okay, but we are feeling like maybe we should try to provide environment, let him to get more close or confident for himself before we send him to the public, because he was only 2.5 years old. So since then, I started having the idea to make my own kindergarten. I wasn't thinking later on I make the school, but I just thought, okay, how far I can go, I'm going to support him until he's strong enough so he can go to the public school. So that's the beginning thought.
Right. How do Chinese people react to your case?
At the beginning, they thought they are foreigners because they have different looking, the mixed looking. But recent years, like with the neighborhood, everybody know, and I think they take them to be one of us. Yeah. But at the beginning, it's all the time you get on the street, you're facing the same thing, right? Foreigner, foreign case. And then my children start speaking Chinese, like, so you speak Chinese? Your Chinese can be so good. Yeah. So, but with the years, like the people was familiar you in the neighborhood, and like recently we went out, some people start talking, oh, look at the foreign kids. The other grandma were jumping out. They said, no, they are not foreign kids, they are Chinese kids. Look at how the Chinese they are. They was grow up in China. So yeah, we feel like we don't really need to explain. Some people are asking questions, but some people are answer for us.
That's good. That's good to know. That your kids are misraised, like they are biracial kids, right? Do they have some special treatment in China, or they are also treated just like normal kids?
You mean my parents or the neighborhood, like the people around us? Like, my mom, she's very proud of. She had a 3-boy grandson, yeah, and then she always happy to introduce her grandson to everybody, and she even put her grandson's picture in her WeChat photo, like to show everybody. I always share the video to her friend. Yeah. And the family, yes, they do. They always feel like they are cute, special hair. I want to touch them. I want to know how they are. They have a lot of attention. Yes, inside the family.
Inside the family.
Yeah.
What about outside? When you guys go outside in the school, are they treated special in the school since they've been to the government school?
Yeah, this is the interesting part, right? The first day when we choose to go to the public school, it's just 2 months ago. The principals, before we register in, the principals invite us to his office, and he asked me a question. Why you choose us? Why you send your kids to the public school? Because we actually, it's our first time to receive the foreign babies in our school. So we don't even know. But frankly, he's like really honest to me. And then we don't really know like how to handle the situation if an issue happen, but please let us know. So I believe we can work out together. So I think they are trying to be more open-minded. But after my kids went to school, they said the teacher was really hard, not only for them, for everybody. But at my view, the teacher opened policy for them. Like, they know they are mixed babies, they know they are Chinese, maybe not should be required as a first language study. So they try to accept like the way they are. Apart from the homework, like if you break the principles like of school, they do like discipline you. But for the homework study, they try to take care of them. So far. But we are still struggle to fit in the society. Yeah, that's true.
So based on that, what are some of the struggles you go through, the challenges your kids go through being a mixed race case in China? Are there any challenges?
Yes, like right now, the biggest challenge before, I'm always worried if my children went out to the public, they are not confident if the people are talking about them. So that's the biggest issue. That's why I start 6 years of home education for them. But right now, the situation turns to the opposite after I send them to public school, because the children discover a lot of problems, also lots of issues of the other kids at school, of the teachers. The teacher talking loud, the teacher, the way they talk to them, because we study overseas, Western way, they encourage more of the students for doing things. But China, they do the opposite way. They are try to tell you the mistake straight away, and they try to tell this is like worse if you do things. So they're using the other way to like, to help the children. So they don't really accept it. And then when those things happened, the other kids, they start talking bad to my kids, to the teacher, to each other. So at the first, my children come back, they feel very disappointed because they are not feel welcomed in the school, not like the before environment. They feel the teacher was hard, like discipline. They went through like really big struggles in that part. But we did a research. When you invite those children, their classmates come to our home, we did the interview and asked them, and we figure out each of them, they have like the family problem, like their parents, they are not working here and mostly left to the grandparents. So when they get a mistake, and nobody really helped them to correcting them. So the grandparents only, they're getting old. So only the school teacher. So the situation is getting worse and worse. So when my children and me, we realizing that, and we, the first thing is like, if you want to correct a mistake, you have to understand why they have to be like that. When they get bad treatment, they first feel hurt. But once they understand, it's because you also get the bad treatment from home. And so this step became, from the hurting, became like, how should I handle this situation? How should I help you? So, and that's a ways for them to learn of the society.
How do your children see themselves? How do they see themselves? Do they see themselves as Chinese people, as Africans? How do they see themselves?
I think my kids will stay in China, like with the Chinese. So most time they reason they are one of the Chinese. That's how they see themselves. But they understand they have foreign dad, so they are not feel strange of the foreign culture. But I think if in the future they went overseas living for sometimes, and that's the time how they define themselves, like who they are. So it's a bit early to really, to give a definition for them to say how they view themselves. Because the reason is they grow up in China. All the people around, they're speaking Chinese. And then they went to Chinese school. Most are Chinese teachers. They learn Kung Fu. They learn the Chinese the Chinese books, like philosophies. And they learn the Chinese acupuncture, those points. So they get all the things around that Chinese. So even they're watching TV for how the overseas treatment are. But I think for the real experience, they still need to go for sometimes, like when they really be out
Have they ever been to Africa?
No, never.
Never. Do you have plans of taking them to see their father's country?
Yes. One day, my kid says, "Mom, can we build a zoo in Africa? Like we want to make our home like a zoo, so we can have different animals, so we can live together. We try to learn." I said I was a little bit scared, we're gonna feed them all. We'd be fate for them. Yeah, but they are exciting to go. They're really exciting. But we also prepare them, let them know what have to be prepared ahead of time. Like right now, we start teaching them how to live in the wild and how to make medicines for ourselves. So we start. We have our lab at home. We make the microbes. So we try to understand if you have a disease in Africa, how to help yourself and help people to cure. So that's one of the subjects we study. Right now we study the Chinese herbs, how the Chinese herbs to get the medicines and to kill ourselves. And so in the future, if we go to Africa, and that could be more exciting things for me to take my children, because one of my husband's traditional food is called ero. In Nigeria, it's called okazi. In Cameroon, it's called ero. So ero is like a tea. So when you take it, maybe African, they have the bitter leaf or something. So those food also can help your system. So we want to learn more about that. So we are excited to go.
Do you think sooner or later, this form of marriage will be fully accepted in China?
We are accepted already in my family, and I didn't feel any unacceptable in China, because why? The government give you the marriage certificate, right? We only spend a few kuai in each of our lessons, and so we're legal husband wife, and he live all this year in China, so he already be accepted in China by law. But for people, they may have some different understanding, misunderstanding of the culture. So I think it just depends on the personal. Yeah, I think with more people have international marriage, and they will have more people accepted.
So what attracted you to your husband?
I don't know. Destiny shows me there. Seriously, I didn't think I will marry to a foreigner, all black people. But I learned more after inside my marriage. I learned his personality, I learned his culture, the time we were together. So what attracted me, his characters, he's honest, he's the African ways, they care about the home, they care about the family, and sometimes he never be he always cool. He never lost his temper, because we are from North China and people easily have the temper issues. So it doesn't have that with my children, and so I really love that. No matter how much time I'll try to be hush the things and talking, and he always say cool down, and he's acting so cool. So, and that part I think I really like his part from their family education, and it's good, and they have the family connection. They have a big family. I'm a single child. I always want have the somebody who has a big family. They can tell you more about how to relationship or how things works. So it's kind of attractive me to know.
What are some of the things you wish you knew
before I get married?
Marry your African husband.
The African lady most likely to really know how to taking care of a home. So I find it's a big challenge for me, and to learn how to taking care of a home, and how to cook, how to clean, and how to do things. I really wish I knew before. But I learned that gradually, inside my marriage, and I have to know. But inside China, most time we went to school. I was a single child, and then 10 years school time and boarding school. So you don't really get to know people, and also how to taking care of, So I really learned that. I wish I knew it before I get married, so I can be a better wife.
Can you cook some African food?
Can me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can cook.
What African food can you cook?
Fufu, arrow. Arrow is a traditional like a Cameroon food. It's like those tea leaves and mix together with you make the beef or the meat and you mix together, cooking with palm oil. And then I tried one dish. What that? The soup. What was that soup called? I forget. It's orange color, with the limestone.
I don't know.
You don't know that, right? It's a palm oil you have to warm it up.
Okay.
And then you put on the limestone. And so it helped the women to make the katsu. What's that? I really forget that soup's name. I'm going to find out.
If you know the name of the soup,
Yes,
please write in the
it's
comment section.
orange color, and then they using the yam, and they make a circle, the white things, and then they put the soup in the middle, and they have the beef. Yeah, I know how to make it, but because so many years I haven't been talking about the name. Yeah, it's bitter leaf, fried plantain. Yeah, a lot of things I tried. Fried fish.
Fried fish.
Yeah.
What's your favorite African food?
Oh, it's that soup. I still forget that soup. Again, my favorite, fufu.
Fufu.
And arrow.
All right. What is one thing you want to tell people who are in your situation? People who want to go into interracial marriage. If there's one thing you want to tell them, what is it going to be?
Always try. Always try. No matter what condition you are, as long as you decide to enter a marriage, and always try to find the light. You know, it's not easy. Like when we're facing being a mom is a big challenge for everybody, even for people from the same country background. For the international marriage, we have a misunderstanding for how should the children to be raised up. So I always try to communicate and I always try to accept it. Well, I can say I made a lot of effort to try and make my children understand African cultures or speaking English. And my husband also accepted a lot for the Chinese ways to raise up the children. Because when we visit his family in America, and I discovered the way they raising children is different than us. But when I look at my husband, I thought he accepted the way we raising the children. It's his way for accept the culture. So that's why I said always try to understand each other.
Always try and try to understand each other. These are the words from
Dadaliya.
Thank you for talking to us.